A statement issued via the PLP Secretariat on June 4 severely criticizes the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party-led government for what the party perceives to be an inability of the government to provide appropriate levels of assistance to citizens and residents of the Federation who need help in the current economic environment. The PLP statement accuses the government of targeting people who are facing difficult times by cutting utilities, particularly water and electricity. In part, the PLP statement reads, quote, "This is not just about bills. It is about dignity, compassion, and whether the people in power have any real understanding of what families in this federation face every single day. A responsible government protects the poor, the elderly, single mothers, low-income workers, and struggling households. It does not pile pressure on people who are already bending under the weight. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis deserve relief. They deserve reliable water, affordable living, real social support, and leadership that listens, understands, and acts," end quote. According to the statement, the government has failed in its leadership and has exhibited a level of heartlessness and incompetence. Glenn Barth reporting for Television Caribbean, TVC Channel 40.
Castro made his first public appearance since he was indicted on murder charges. The event was to celebrate Castro turning 95, during which he condemned the Trump administration's sanctions on Cuba. Local 10's World News anchor Glenna Milberg has the latest.
Raúl Castro Ruz.
Tonight, the Cuban government releasing this video. Raúl Castro in public for the first time since his U.S. indictment last month for ordering the demise of Brothers to the Rescue planes 30 years ago. Castro's grandson and bodyguard close by. Seated front and center in the packed Karl Marx Theater in olive green military uniform, a rare view of the revolutionary elder. Cuba's president's speech honoring Army General Raúl Castro Ruz, founder of Cuban Security Services almost 70 years ago.
Raúl es Cuba, y a Cuba no se toca.
In that speech Friday, Cuba's President Miguel Díaz-Canel condemning the U.S. energy blockade since January, one tanker of fuel arriving in 5 months. What you cannot see in the dark Havana streets, you can hear. Residents banging pots and pans in protest over more power outages this weekend, worsening with the sanctions, aging infrastructure, and an economic spiral.
Cuba no provoca.
The newest U.S. sanctions Thursday against Díaz-Canel himself. Others already in place, including for international corporations who do business with Cuba's government, run by a network they're known by its acronym GAESA. Díaz-Canel insisting that Cuba is no threat to the United States and also saying Cuba will fight if the U.S. makes good on its threats to attack.
Jamaica in darkness. Residents in respective communities led to believe it was only their area. Not long after, as the evening progressed, many flooded to social media seeking answers. A countrywide blackout just after 9 p.m. Friday, and it was unannounced. Thousands caught off guard, their plans for the evening interrupted or cancelled.
We have started restoring electricity to customers. I believe that some of your listeners and viewers who now have electricity. We had an all-island power outage because the system failed. We're investigating because of that failure, but in the meantime, we have been able to restart generating units and restore power to customers. We have restored power to customers in sections of Kingston and St. Andrews, St. James, Clarendon, and St. Catherine, and we're continuing to get customers on in a phased basis. We expect that most customers will have power back tonight, but I can't give you any further details right now as the restoration continues. What I can say is that we're committed to doing everything we can to bring as many customers on as possible tonight.
Heavy showers of blessings from above, a surprise to many, cooling down the hot temperature of the day. Anxiety set in for Jamaicans, expressing anger at JPS. How and why? JPS officials saying, "We are sorry."
Fact is that technology fails, machines fail, there are backup systems that work. What I can say is that the backup system is working. This happens in developed countries, it happens in developing countries. What we are seeing here is best-in-class response. We are responding as expected, and we're bringing customers back on. The first set of customers came back on within an hour after the system failure, and we are working methodically. So we apologize for the inconvenience. This is not something that we want at all. But I can assure you that we have experts, energy experts. We have the best in the business right now on your case, working to get your power back on.
JPS officials on the defensive on the night, telling irate Jamaicans they have started investigations into the possible cause of the outage and assuring them of the restoration efforts. By morning, Energy Minister Raúl Castro, who described the developments as unacceptable, weighed in on the situation as he held discussions with relevant authorities throughout Friday into Saturday.
After a long night of suffering and frustration by the JPS customers all island, I'm pleased to report that the JPS has indicated that all customers and the entire country and the grid has been restored as of 6:30 a.m. this morning, June 6. I want to apologize personally and on behalf of the government of Jamaica for this unacceptable incident, which has caused much dislocation, not only to the country, but to the customers of JPS.
Damon Phillips, CVM News.
And the Office of Utilities Regulation has acknowledged the significant inconvenience to residential, commercial, and critical service customers across Jamaica from the blackout. Speaking during Saturday's stakeholder press conference at the Jamaica Public Service Company's head office in New Kingston, Director General of the OUR, Ansard Hewitt, outlined its engagement of the power company for an official report on the outage.
We have sent to JPS a correspondence requesting a preliminary report, which we expect to have by end of day on Monday. The regulatory framework provides 30 days for JPS to do essentially an incident report setting out what transpired, doing a root cause analysis, providing us with recommendations and so on, which we will review and see what, the extent, if we agree with that, if it is adequate, we will also determine what directives, what actions to take coming out of that.
And Energy Minister Raúl Castro maintains a full evaluation and report can be given in less than 30 days based on the technology available, as he and Chairman of JPS, Hugh Grant, provided a preliminary assessment of the reasons for the outage.
All of the conspiracy theories that have been making the rounds are fake news, and I will not even repeat some of them because they are so ludicrous. This was a simple, or should I say, a straightforward system breakdown within the JPS apparatus.
Did the incident at the upper camp, the fire, had anything to do with the island-wide system shutdown? I would say no, it did not. At the time of the incident, we had significant lightning activity in the corporate area, particularly in the vicinity of some of our critical generating stations, transmission facilities, and also some of our substations. What we do know is that as a result of the significant lightning activity, we lost 5 of our transmission lines emanating from one of our significant substations in the corporate area. In parallel with that, we had a cascading effect causing the loss of generation across the entire island. This cascading effect resulted in a shutdown of the entire grid. And the thing of concern here is the nature of the cascading outage that transpired in terms of the loss of the several generating facilities across the island from what we think is an initiating incident in the corporate era. As I said, things right now are preliminary. It's early yet, so more to come.
This summer, the Caribbean's premier music experience returns. Welcome to the 28th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival, featuring the incredible Kilani, Fantasia, Beres Hammond, Luciano, Soca King Marshall Montano, Soca Sensation Voice, and Vaughn. Dancehall giant Movado, Idonia, and the new wave, Valiant. Also featuring Massacre, Cranium, Taurus Riley, Steel Pulse, Dean Fraser and the Black Soil Band, Shanil Mir, Diani, Rodney Tatat, and Zoo. The legendary New Vibes Band International, Brandon and ASAP Band, Shelly and Signal Band, plus Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Lucas HE, and Garlic and the Upper Level Band. June 25th to June 27th, Warner Park Cricket Stadium, St. Kitts. Get your tickets now at stkittsmusicfestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, where music meets paradise.
A new day begins. The sun rises over St. Martin, bringing new energy, new possibilities. This island was built on resilience, progress, and the strength of its people. Our connection is what moves us forward. It links our communities, our businesses, our families. From the heart of the island to the shores beyond, we've connected St. Martin. From every street to every home, this network was built for St. Martin by St. Martin hands. Connection isn't just about signals, it's about people. This is your island and your network recharged. Proudly local, we're here for today, tomorrow, and every milestone ahead.
At The Cable, we believe in giving back because when our community thrives, we all do. That's why, as a company, we make it our mission to touch the lives of everyone in St. Kitts. We spearheaded the renovation of JNF Hospital lobby to ensure better care for all. The Cable sponsors free Wi-Fi in every community center across St. Kitts, so no one is left behind in an increasingly connected world. We stand with communities through every moment, big or small, in culture, education, youth development, and more. Y a ti también, comunidad latina. Cuenta con nosotros. Estamos con ustedes. And when it comes to customer service, we set the standard. We're just a call, click, or visit away because you matter to us. Join the company that truly cares. The Cable, more than service. We're family. Somos familia. And we're proud to always give more where it matters.
Lace your sneakers, grab a friend, and get ready for Praise Fest 2026, the Federation's premier gospel concert, in collaboration with St. Kitts Music Festival. Join us on the Antioch Baptist Church grounds as we praise with Tehillah Gospel Band, Unique Touch Christian Center Praise, Brent Hoyt, Positive, and Chevel Franklin. Earthen Vessels will start it off with praise and worship. This all goes down June 21st, 2026, starting at 5:30 p.m. on the Antioch Baptist Church grounds. Secure your tickets at Sister Beverly on 4th Street, Westside Service Center. The Cable, Island Flavors, Charlestown Nevis, or any member of the Antioch Baptist Church. Or you can go online at www.antiochbaptistskn.org. Islander Water Taxis providing $40 round trip from Nevis to St. Kitts. Be first in line for an unforgettable evening.
During Friday's sitting of the National Assembly, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Gail Teixeira pushed back against using Transparency International's index report after Opposition Chief Whip Tabitha Sarabu-Hali asked the minister to explain why Ghana continues to rank poorly on the Corruption Perceptions Index and related governance indicators, despite workshops, public statements, and government commitments to transparency. In response, Teixeira questioned the basis of the question, stating that the government could not identify the specific World Bank corruption indicator referenced by the opposition MP. She argued that these assessments include disclaimers and are based on staff judgment rather than a formal position of the World Bank's executive directors or member governments. Turning to Transparency International, Teixeira said the latest Corruption Perceptions Index was for 2024 and maintained that the CPI does not measure actual levels of corruption.
It admits in its documents that the CPI, that is the Corruption Perception Index, does not measure actual corruption levels. As a quote from it. Instead, it reflects perceptions. And it is fundamentally important to note that these perceptions are influenced by a range of subjective factors.
But while Transparency International is recognized by the most countries in the world, the minister told the House that the government does not accept the index as a definitive measure of corruption, saying it is not based on direct empirical evidence of corrupt acts.
That is why we say we do not uphold the Transparency International. And many countries don't, because they know it is perception-based, no data, no information, and based on what they pick up from the two people who may be the people they ask every year. And the two, I said many very clear, based on population, it could be 1, 2, or 5.
She also did not directly acknowledge or engage in detail with the recommendations that usually accompany concerns about corruption perception. Instead, Teixeira argued that Ghana should not be judged solely by international perception surveys, particularly when many countries in the global south often rank lower countries in the global north.
When you look at the Transparency International, it receives funding from 14 countries, main countries. That's how it's able to operate. And all of the 14 countries receive rankings of between 60 and 90. And coincidentally, these countries that receive ranking of between 60 and 90, which is the highest scores, are all from the global north.
While Teixeira maintained that the Corruption Perception Index is not proof of corruption, the parliamentary exchange highlighted a broader issue whether the government is prepared to answer perception concerns with concrete data. Antonio D reporting for the HEP Nightly News.
Commissioner of Police Alista Guevara has maintained that the TTPS does not oppose protests organized by citizens. His statement comes amid recent criticism of police actions to disperse crowds gathered for a peace walk in Port of Spain. While speaking to the media in Tobago at the launch of the TTPS Active Directed Grid Patrol Initiative, Commissioner Guevara clarified the police's decision to intervene in the 19 protests for 19 bullets demonstration, which raised concerns about the handling of the Joshua Samaru shooting case.
That protest actually had about 15 or 16 protest demonstrations in front of police stations prior, but they were all held within the law and they were all done in the right way. Thus, when it reached to the point of it becoming a little adversarial and against what the emergency powers regulation dictates, that is when the police had to step in and take decisive action.
The police commissioner also elaborated on the conditions for which citizens can exercise their democratic rights to protest.
It was bandied about into the public. You don't really need permission to protest, all right? What you do, you notify the office of the commissioner of police. In some cases, some people have a sporadic protest, but there are means and ways in which you protest that could be offensive to the law. And that is what we are trying to prevent.
On a program aired on Freedom FM 106.5, St. Kitts and Nevis's Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew responded to social media comments concerning a perceived lack of compassion and response to residents suffering from rising costs coming as a consequence of the war in the Middle East. At the start of the program, the Prime Minister made the point that the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party-led government had been assisting the people since they got into office, as he outlined several programs, some which are long-term in impact. He also addressed the current situation and circumstances being faced by citizens and residents.
Now, the other matter we also did vet reduction for a period of that time as well, so that they could have really gotten an ease while we saw that inflation was being increased as a result of no issue to do with St. Kitts and Nevis, but because of what was happening internationally. So we have done all of that for our people. Now, lately, what have we done for our people? The fuel relief measures. The government continues to absorb a lot of the cost. So we had a 50% reduction in gasoline excise tax from EC 195 to EC 98 cents to ease the cost that people would use, that people would have to pay to drive their vehicles. This includes, of course, buses and so forth. The custom service charge, we also cut that from 6% to 3%. And this is causing the government, I think, over $1 million to bring direct relief with respect to the increase in energy. We, of course, are not responsible for the fuel costs around the world because we buy fuel. Nonetheless, this Labour administration is making sure that we do what we have to do to protect our people. I want to deal with one last matter before I leave, and that is the present matter. So we have impacted the cost of fuel by taking those measures to reduce it, and now we are on the issue of other costs. But one of the issues I want to deal with today is the cost of the basic, what we call dollar bread, which we mean is the $2 bread, really. And one of the things I want to stress today, and I think a statement was sent out by the Cost of Living Committee that addressed the matter. Let me say clearly and emphatically, the government did not approve for the increase of the bread from $2 to $3. And therefore, that statement, I think, is a firm statement to say to those who would seek to do it, to refrain from doing it.
The Prime Minister indicated that the one bakery that raised the cost of the basic long bread from $2 to $3 had done so without consultation with the government. Glenn Bart reporting for Television Caribbean, TVC Channel 40.
This summer, the Caribbean's premier music experience returns. Welcome to the 28th edition of the St. Kitts Music Festival, featuring the incredible Kilani, Fantasia, Beres Hammond, Luciano, Soca King Marshall Montano, Soca Sensation Voice, and Vaughn. Dancehall giant Movado, Idonia, and the new wave, Valiant. Also featuring Massacre, Cranium, Taurus Riley, Steel Pulse, Dean Fraser and the Black Soil Band, Shanil Mir, Diani, Rodney Tatat, and Zoo. The legendary New Vibes Band International, Brandon and ASAP Band, Shelly and Signal Band, plus Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Lucas H.E., and Garlic and the Upper Level Band. June 25th to June 27th, Warner Park Cricket Stadium, St. Kitts. Get your tickets now at stkittsmusicfestival.com. The St. Kitts Music Festival, where music meets paradise.
A new day begins. The sun rises over St. Martin, bringing new energy, new possibilities. This island was built on resilience, progress, and the strength of its people. Our connection is what moves us forward. It links our communities, our businesses, our families. From the heart of the island to the shores beyond, we've connected St. Martin. From every street to every home, this network was built for St. Martin by St. Martin hands. Connection isn't just about signals, it's about people. This is your island and your network recharged. Proudly local, we're here for today, tomorrow, and every milestone ahead.
At The Cable, we believe in giving back because when our community thrives, we all do. That's why, as a company, we make it our mission to touch the lives of everyone in St. Kitts. We spearheaded the renovation of JNF Hospital Lobby to ensure better care for all. The Cable sponsors free Wi-Fi in every community center across St. Kitts, so no one is left behind in an increasingly connected world. We stand with communities through every moment, big or small, in culture, education, youth development, and more. Y a ti también, comunidad latina. Cuenta está con nosotros, estamos con ustedes. And when it comes to customer service, we set the standard. We're just a call, click, or visit away because you matter to us. Join the company that truly cares. The Cable, more than service. We're family. Somos familia. And we're proud to always give more where it matters.
Lace your sneakers, grab a friend, and get ready for Praise Fest 2026, the Federation's premier gospel concert, in collaboration with St. Kitts Music Festival. Join us on the Antioch Baptist Church grounds as we praise with Tehillah Gospel Band, Unique Touch Christian Center Praise, Brent Hoyt, Positive, and Chevel Franklin. Earthen Vessels will start it off with praise and worship. This all goes down June 21st, 2026, starting at 5:30 p.m. on the Antioch Baptist Church grounds. Secure your tickets at Sister Beverly on 4th Street, Westside Service Center. The Cable, Island Flavors, Charlestown Nevis, or any member of the Antioch Baptist Church. Or you can go online at www.antiochbaptistskn.org. Islander Water Taxis providing $40 round trip from Nevis to St. Kitts. Be first in line for an unforgettable evening.
Up first this evening, a senior U.S. government official has refused to specifically address public concerns about the presence of a U.S. warship in Jamaican waters at a time when that country is mounting pressure on the Cuban regime.
However, sources tell TVJ News that the timing of the warship is, quote, just coincidence, and the visit part of the USS Nimitz Goodwill tour.
Andrea Chisholm was among members of the media who toured the ship today.
The USS Nimitz in all its glory docked in the Kingston Harbor at the Kingston Freeport Terminal on Monday. It's one of the largest aircraft carriers in the world, 1,092 feet long, 252 feet wide, and its height 244 feet.
It's about the height of a 23-story building. We displaced 97,000 tons, and we have 2 nuclear reactors that we use to propel this ship. We are one of the fastest ships in the Navy. Even though this ship is so huge, it's so much bigger than every other ship that we have, it's actually one of the fastest in the Navy. We can go 30-plus knots while underway. That's incredibly fast.
The USS Nimitz is 51 years old, first commissioned in 1975 and scheduled to be decommissioned in 2027. On the flight deck, a display of military might, reality, not the movies.
The flight deck here on the USS Nimitz is usually abuzz with activities. This aircraft behind me is actually an F-18, capable of launching bombs and missiles. And here on the flight deck, one aircraft can be launched every 2 minutes.
Here at Flight Deck Control, the Ouija board shows the full layout of what's on the flight deck. There's also a digital version.
Since news broke that the USS Nimitz was coming to Jamaica, there have been many questions. People have been talking about the timing, and people are trying to figure out why is it that the vessel is here in Jamaica.
The visit of the aircraft carrier comes days after former Cuban President Raúl Castro was indicted in the United States on charges of conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals during a fatal attack on 2 planes in 1996. The presence of the USS Nimitz also comes at a time when the U.S. administration has intensified pressure on the Cuban regime. The issue was put to U.S. Charge d'Affaires Scott Renner.
This visit comes at a time when we see that the U.S. has increased its military presence in the Caribbean. There are concerns about that. Should Jamaica and the wider Caribbean region be concerned?
Really, what the Nimitz is here for today, and it'll be here all week, is really that collaboration and cooperation. It's really about those ties to Jamaica. And for example, the sailors, part of what they'll be doing here, besides experiencing Jamaican hospitality, is they'll be going out to schools, doing repairs at schools. They'll be engaging with football players and sports teams, and a lot of community projects as well.
So no need to fear the increased military presence in the Caribbean?
What the Nimitz is here for, really, is that working with Jamaica. It's about Jamaica this week.
So, given the speculation and talks about Cuba, what about the perception of Jamaica? We spoke to Cabinet Minister Senator Aubin Hill.
One of the things I know that the talk that you hear is probably uninformed. What I am telling you, I'm here as the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce to greet one of the United States' most important fleet, because the Nimitz is the head of a seven-ship fleet. And I know the Nimitz from I lived and worked in the Middle East.
Sources tell TVJ News that the timing of the visit of the aircraft carrier is just mere coincidence. They agree there are concerns about Cuba and the U.S. wants a change in the Cuban regime. However, the visit by the Nimitz is part of a goodwill tour.
It is a signal that freedom of the seas is non-negotiable. We view our security, our stability, and our prosperity as being intricately tied to yours. Together, we remain committed to confronting shared challenges, including transnational criminal organizations and regional instability. We are also committed to work together to support regional initiatives such as the Counter Cartel Coalition and the Gang Suppression Force in Haiti.
The USS Nimitz carried over 4,000 sailors, some of whom have already left the ship to experience Jamaica's culture. It's the final stop of the Southern Seas 2026 deployment and is described as a symbol of the long-standing relationship between Jamaica and the United States. The aircraft carrier will remain at the port of Kingston until June 5. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
At a press conference on Friday, President of the Grenada Union of Teachers, Jude Bartholomew, called for urgent action to address ongoing salary issues affecting several teachers. His comments follow a statement from the Ministry of Education on Thursday, acknowledging that 17 teachers received partial remuneration between September 2025 and April 2026. The release said most cases have been rectified and that efforts are underway to process additional payments in the June pay cycle. Bartholomew, however, argued that the figure cited by the ministry reflects outdated GUT data and refuted claims that most cases were resolved. He maintained that any number of unpaid teachers should be a matter of concern.
If it's 100, then you should move speedily to pay the teachers. If it is 17, you should move speedily to pay the teachers. And if it is one teacher or one worker, whether unionized or non-unionized, anywhere, the working class people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, then you should move speedily to pay them. So that is not an excuse there.
Bartholomew said the issue reflects a broader pattern of inaction by the Ministry of Education. He highlighted other outstanding matters, including delays in applying negotiated salary upgrades and allowances for qualified teachers and those who have completed bachelor's and master's degrees. The union leader also said that teachers appear to be left behind in the government's public service regularization project.
When we heard about that number 80, we're not happy and we're not satisfied from the Ministry of Education. Big regularization for the last, before you go back to the normal and tell us 80, we have still about 400 teachers or 500 who are to be regularized. So 80 cannot be enough when this is the last period of a big regularization for teachers. And what they're telling us is that there is no space. No space what? 1887 teachers. There is no space. We have to make space. Yes, make space. Imagine principals in a school, they acting for years upon years as if they did in Hollywood. Acting. Why they acting? Because somebody who was a principal in one school get a bigger job in the Ministry of Education and they still attached to the school. So when you bring a new principal, the principal can't get a permanent in the school because the person in the ministry does their space still.
Bartholomew said teachers have made invaluable contributions to Grenadian society, which must be recognized through fair and timely compensation. He called on Grenadians to stand with the teachers against these challenges. Bartholomew said the union will continue to raise these matters until they are resolved. Deidre Seeley, GBN News.
Protecting the environment while creating sustainable opportunities for future generations remains a key focus of the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund SLUNCF, which recently concluded its Coral Reef Response Workshop. The initiative brought together diverse boat tour operators, environmental advocates, and other stakeholders to strengthen their capacity to restore and protect coral reef ecosystems. Participants also gained access to resources and potential funding opportunities to support future restoration efforts. Organizers say the workshop comes at a critical time as marine pollution, coral bleaching, and the impacts of climate change continue to threaten St. Lucia's coastal and marine environments.
Restoration and focus on the marine biodiversity in St. Lucia is a critical issue, and especially the fact that we know that coral reefs in particular provide a source of livelihoods for not only the tourism sector but for fisheries as well, right? So a lot of people earn a livelihood from the use of coral reefs, so definitely it's about time that we put some structures and mechanisms in place that help us to protect and restore those natural resources.
Avril thanked participants for investing their time in an initiative that can generate long-term benefits for multiple sectors, including tourism, fisheries, and coastal protection. He noted that as climate change continues to affect natural ecosystems, safeguarding marine resources is becoming increasingly important to both environmental sustainability and economic development. Avril also highlighted a key component of the program that will help mobilize future coral reef restoration efforts.
What it is that we're piloting this year through the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund is an insurance type policy that can be triggered by extreme wind speeds within a 100-kilometer radius of St. Lucia, and that insurance policy allows us with resources that we can channel to the brigade that has been trained to do the coral restoration activities that are needed. So you're talking about things like debris removal, being able to do cleanup for fragments and so on, especially when there's detachment or damage to the coral reefs.
One of the workshop facilitators praised participants for their enthusiasm and commitment to learning. He described the program as an important opportunity to share scientific knowledge and practical techniques for marine preservation. The facilitator expressed hope that participants will take what they have learned back to their communities and become advocates for the protection of St. Lucia's marine biodiversity.
We have a lot of tourism coming to see the reefs, right, and enjoy the scuba diving, snorkeling, and they also are a protection for the coast whenever there is a hurricane or a storm. But that means that they will be damaged with these kind of forces. So what we're teaching to these people is how to go back and actually try to help the reef that is broken and put it back on, so we give another chance for the reef to recover.
The workshop also attracted representatives from law enforcement, including the Marine Police Unit. Sergeant Sean Dellis says the knowledge gained will strengthen efforts to protect the country's marine resources and improve awareness of the importance of coral reef conservation.
We all know that they are now facing threats of natural and man-made disasters. Natural being climate change, rising sea levels, etc., and man-made in terms of pollution and so forth. So training like this is timely, and it enables us to do the coral reef repair within the first 45 days after disaster strikes.
Participants say the workshop has deepened their understanding of coral reef ecosystems and their role in protecting coastlines, supporting fisheries, and sustaining tourism. One participant says she now feels better equipped to contribute to conservation efforts and share what she has learned with others.
Now I'm living with a wealth of information concerning coral reef and restoration, and I'm very pleased to have such knowledge which I can share with my community and beyond, because in St. Lucia, many people don't respect the coral reef and they damage it. Now, it's not their fault, because what you don't know, you can't protect.
Organizers hope the skills, partnerships, and the knowledge gained during the workshop will translate into concrete action, helping to restore and protect St. Lucia's coral reefs for generations to come. For the DBS News World, Manasseh Stanislas reporting.
The St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association, the SKNFA, hosted a women's and girls football festival on Saturday, June 6 at the National Bank Group Technical Center, attracting nearly 70 participants for a day of football, fun, and engagement. Girls and women of various ages took part in a series of football activities designed to promote the growth and development of the women's game in the Federation. Head of Women's Football at the SKNFA, Kalia Huggins, expressed her delight with the turnout and the enthusiasm shown by participants. She noted that the event highlighted the growing interest in women's football and demonstrated the potential for continued expansion of the sport.
The turnout especially was something that, I'll be honest, I did not expect, because I didn't know that there were so many people involved or want to be involved in football.
Huggins added that the association intends to build on the momentum generated by the festival as it continues its efforts to strengthen the women's football program and create more opportunities for young players.
The next step is to focus on the President Cup that will be on the 14th, and after that the beginning of the Elvis Brown Women League. So that's the next step. But don't get me wrong, I am going to be multitasking. We're going to put in 1 or 2 workshops. We have anti-doping workshop coming up soon, and then we will have another festival. So even though the leagues will be going on, I can tell you that I will be multitasking and bringing in and doing more workshops so that we can keep not just the clubs involved, but also people who want to be back into football.
Among the participants was senior women's national team player Christy Ann Mills, who described the festival as an encouraging experience. She said it was inspiring to see young girls interacting with and learning from more experienced players in a positive and supportive environment.
I thought it was really great having all of the younger ones come out and mesh with the older ones, get to learn a few things, and they were all very excited to be here and they had fun.
And what was some of the impressive things you saw from the young girls who were playing today?
I thought that they showed really good excitement and they were very willing to be here, willing to play, and they just kept going even when they got scored on, and they had fun, which is what it's about. My favorite part is goals, obviously. Everybody loves goals, but the penalty shootout was really fun. Everybody being in the same area and just cheering everybody on, seeing all the smiles when the ball hit the back of the net.
Also sharing her perspective was Tunisia Wyatt, coach of the Village Superstars under-14 girls team and one of the coaches involved in the festival. She praised the initiative and emphasized the importance of providing young female footballers with opportunities to develop their skills and passion for the game.
The session today was a very good one. I love the turnout. I think that we can have more girls in football being empowered and doing something that males do as well to show equality.
The football festival formed part of a 2-day program focused on the advancement of women's football. On June 5th, the SKNFA partnered with the St. Kitts and Nevis Red Cross to host safeguarding and first aid training for women involved in football at the Technical Center. Both activities serve part of a build-up to the highly anticipated return of domestic women's football, with the Elvis Star Brown Women's League scheduled to kick off later this month.